Your roof has been hiding free water. They spent millions. So you'd never find out. The water falling on your roof right now is clean. It is free. And it has been falling there every single year of your life. But somewhere between your roof and your kitchen faucet, someone put a meter on it. Ancient civilizations fed entire cities with nothing but rain and stone channels. No pipes, no treatment plants, no monthly bill. Then one industry looked at that system and did the only thing it could do. It made sure you would never learn it existed. What you're about to see is not a theory. It is history. It is science. It is economics. And after today, you will never look at your roof the same way again. Welcome to Hidden Fix Lab, the channel that digs up what billion-dollar industries quietly buried. Now, if you have never subscribed to this channel before, do this old friend a small favor. Hit that subscribe button. It takes 1 second. And it costs you absolutely nothing, just like the water on your roof. Also, drop a comment below and tell us, where in the world are you watching from today? We want to know. Now, let us begin. In 2500 BC, in one of the driest places on Earth, a civilization solved a problem that modern engineers still struggle with today. The Nabataeans lived in the Negev desert, a place that receives less than 4 inches of rain per year. To put that in perspective, Houston, Texas receives 15 times more rainfall than that desert received annually. And yet, the Nabataeans did not die of thirst. They thrived. They carved stone channels by hand, millimeter by millimeter, across miles of desert rock. Every channel was angled with precise calculation. Every slope was deliberate. When rain fell, even the lightest shower, those channels caught every single drop and directed it into massive underground cisterns carved from solid rock beneath their cities. Archaeologists uncovered more than 200 of those cisterns across the region, all connected, all functioning, a complete water network, built without a single pump, without a single motor, without 1 watt of electricity. The city of Petra rose from that same desert, one of the 7 wonders of the modern world. A city of carved stone palaces, open markets, and living communities, fed entirely by harvested rainwater. No river ran through Petra. No lake sat beside it. The only water source was the sky above, and that was enough. Centuries later, the Romans took the same principle and expanded it across an empire. In Constantinople, Emperor Justinian ordered the construction of the Basilica Cistern in 532 AD. It held over 21 million gallons of water beneath the city streets, supported by 336 marble columns. That single underground chamber supplied clean water to palaces and entire neighborhoods for over 1,000 years without interruption. Then came Venice, a city surrounded entirely by salt water. Every canal was undrinkable, every river was contaminated. The Venetians solved this by excavating enormous cisterns beneath every public square. Rain fell on the stone surface above, passed through layers of sand and gravel that acted as a natural biological filter, and collected clean and fresh below. The famous wells of Venice were not wells in the traditional sense. They were taps connected to underground cisterns filled with naturally filtered rainwater. The Venetians drank exclusively harvested rainwater for over 500 consecutive years. No chlorine, no fluoride, no treatment plant. Not one documented epidemic caused by their water supply. These civilizations did not stumble upon this system accidentally. They studied their environment, respected their rainfall, and engineered their survival around it. The knowledge existed. It worked. It was documented. Then something changed, and that change had nothing to do with science. In 2018, a study published in the journal Environmental Science and Technology did something quietly devastating to the water treatment industry. Researchers collected rainwater. They ran it through a basic sand and activated charcoal filter, materials that cost less than $20 to assemble. Then they placed that water side by side with municipally treated tap water and tested both. The results were not close. The filtered rainwater showed 0 chlorine levels, nearly undetectable fluoride concentrations, and a heavy metal content that tested lower than the water currently coming out of the average kitchen faucet. Water that fell from the sky, filtered through a homemade system, contained fewer contaminants than water processed inside a multi-million-dollar industrial treatment plant. That study was published. It was peer-reviewed. And then the industry moved on as if it had never existed. The biological mechanism behind this is not complicated. Sand and gravel do not merely block particles. They host a living layer of beneficial microorganisms, scientists call it the biological layer, that actively consumes harmful bacteria and pathogens passing through. It is not filtration in the mechanical sense. It is a living process. Ancient civilizations did not understand the microbiology behind it, but they observed that water passed through Earth came out clean, and they built entire cities on that observation. In 2016, researchers at the University of Oregon demonstrated that a biological sand filter built with materials costing under $10 removed 98% of bacteria from collected rainwater. 98%, with sand, gravel, and a basic container. A 2020 study from Murdoch University in Australia analyzed over 1,000 households using harvested rainwater as their primary drinking source. The conclusion was precise. Residents showed rates of gastrointestinal illness equal to or lower than people connected to the fully treated public water supply. Equal to or lower. The World Health Organization published its official guidelines for drinking water quality in 2011. That document explicitly recognized rainwater harvesting as a viable and safe source of potable water. It stated that in many regions, rainwater is actually cleaner than surface or groundwater sources contaminated by pesticides and industrial runoff. The science was never missing. The science was always there. What was missing was the industry's motivation to ever let anyone find it. That motivation had a price tag. In 1991, the American Water Works Association, a trade organization representing municipal water utilities across the United States, quietly began lobbying state legislatures against the expansion of private rainwater harvesting programs. No press release, no public debate, no headline, just legislation. The argument they presented was technical on the surface. They claimed that private rainwater collection interfered with established water rights. Legal frameworks originally designed to manage river and groundwater allocation between agricultural and municipal users. They took a legal structure built for rivers and applied it to rain falling directly onto private rooftops. And it worked. In Colorado, collecting rainwater from your own roof was classified as illegal until 2016. Not discouraged, not taxed. Illegal. The official position of the state was that rainwater belonged to the government the moment it touched the ground. A homeowner who placed a barrel beneath their downspout was, by legal definition, stealing from the state. That law stood for decades. In Utah, rainwater harvesting remained illegal until 2010. When the ban was finally lifted, the legislature did not remove the restriction entirely. They replaced it with a cap, a maximum of 2,500 gallons per household, as if the sky itself required a meter reading before it was permitted to fall on private property. The global bottled water industry generated over $350 billion in revenue in 2023 alone. 4 corporations control more than 40% of that market. A system that allows any household to collect clean drinking water from their own roof at zero ongoing cost does not compete with that market. It eliminates it entirely. You cannot patent rain. You cannot place a monthly subscription on the sky. That is not conspiracy. That is just economics. Dr. Rajendra Singh, a water conservationist awarded the Stockholm Water Prize in 2015, often called the Waterman of India, spent decades documenting traditional rainwater harvesting systems across Rajasthan. His research demonstrated that ancient community cistern networks had restored water to over 1,000 villages across drought-stricken regions. His findings were presented to international water policy bodies. His documentation was peer-reviewed and published. The policy response was silence. The suppression of rainwater harvesting was never carried out with dramatic announcements or visible force. It was carried out through the quietest possible tool available to any industry with sufficient resources. Legislation without headlines, regulation without explanation, omission without apology. The rain kept falling, the meters kept running. The average American household spends approximately $73 per month on water. That is $876 per year. Every single year, for water that has been falling free onto their roof 12 months a year without interruption. The system that ends that bill is not complicated. It does not require a contractor. It does not require a permit in most states. And it does not require more than 1 weekend to build. Step 1. Calculate the roof. Measure the total roof area in square feet. Multiply that number by the city's average annual rainfall converted into feet. Then multiply the result by 7.48 to convert cubic feet into gallons. A 1,000 square foot roof in a city receiving 47 inches of annual rainfall produces approximately 29,900 gallons per year. A family of 4 consumes roughly 40 gallons per person per day, approximately 58 through those 400 gallons annually. One modest rooftop covers more than half of that entire demand at zero cost. Step 2. Install the gutters. Standard PVC gutters run along the full perimeter of the roofline. All downspouts direct toward a single collection point. PVC gutters are available at any hardware store for under $2 per linear foot and can be installed without professional assistance in a single afternoon. Step 3. Install a first flush diverter. The first fraction of each rainfall washes bird droppings, dust, pollen, and debris from the roof surface. That water must never enter the storage tank. A first flush diverter automatically redirects the first 2 gallons of each rainfall event away from the tank. These devices are available online for under $15 and install in under 30 minutes. Step 4. Storage. A used 275-gallon IBC tote costs between $50 and $100 from local farms or industrial suppliers. Keep it sealed, painted dark, and shaded from direct sunlight to prevent algae growth. For larger capacity, tanks ranging from 500 to 2,500 gallons are available between $200 and $800. Step 5. Filtration. Build a biological sand filter using a standard 55-gallon drum. Layer coarse gravel at the bottom, fine gravel above that, compacted fine sand on top. This removes over 95% of bacteria without a single chemical product. For drinking water, apply solar disinfection. Fill clear PET bottles with filtered water and place them in direct sunlight for 6 hours minimum. The WHO has officially recognized this method as effective since 1999. In rural Virginia, a homeowner named James Whitfield built this exact system in 2019 using salvaged gutters from a neighbor's renovation and a free IBC tote from a local farm. Total build cost, $140. He has not paid a single water bill for outdoor use since that weekend. Visitors see the system, they ask how it works, they leave and build their own. The rain never stopped falling. The knowledge never disappeared. It was simply never handed to the people who needed it most. One roof, one weekend, one decision, and the meter stops running.